Hey, what's up, everybody? You already know who I am. DJ Krav Maga CDK, and I haven't been putting too many videos out. This last past year, been terribly busy. Trying to grow my business. Training for my second Dan Krav Maga. Just getting stuff together. But I promise you, I'll get back to you. I know everybody said, "Man, we want to see you put your videos back out." So I promise I'm gonna get back to you. But right now, I'm posting this video actually to get some of your feedback about a big debate that goes on in the self-defense world, and I want feedback from not only my martial artists, my boxers, but my fighters as well. People who have experience with this. And the debate is this: when you're punching, as far as a bare knuckle fist fight, is it best to hit with your top two knuckles, or your top two knuckles, or your bottom three knuckles? Okay, in other words, your top two knuckles here, or the three knuckles here. So let's talk about it for a second. And Krav Maga, and Lisa, we talk about a lot punching with the top two knuckles. The reason why we talk about punching with the top two knuckles is because when people tend to punch with the three knuckles, they end up hitting their pinky, and they get what's called a boxer's fracture. They call it a boxer's fracture because a lot of times when people get into fights and stuff like that, particularly boxers, they end up hitting here, and then they break their small knuckle. Okay, so to avoid that, we hit with the top two knuckles. Okay. Well, here's the controversy. Number one, yes, you definitely want to avoid hitting with the pinky. That's definite. No problem with that. You don't want to hit with this knuckle, okay? Because you can break that, okay? But when you hit with your top two knuckles, and although you won't break your pinky, you're more likely to break your wrists. And here's why. When you're hitting with your top two knuckles, in order to get your knuckle flat onto your target, look what you're doing to your hand. Your hand is kind of bent like so. In order to hit with your top two knuckles, I don't know if you can see that. See how my hand, I even put a video out when I talk about the straight line going down. Well, anytime your wrist is bent like that, it's more likely to get broken than when it's straight and rigid. When it's bent, it's already out of place. You see that? It's already out of place. But when it's here, it's straighter and less likely to break. So I even talked to a few bone specialists and doctors about that. I mean, the human body, the hand wasn't created to ball a fist up and use to punch with anyway. So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Truth of the matter is, if you hit something flesh, it's a good chance you're going to break something. Here's the question: what's worse to break? Breaking the pinky or breaking the wrist? Well, if you I've talked to a few doctors, and they say, well, a lot of people come in with that boxer's fracture, and it's actually no big deal. What they say is the knuckles are more important, the fingers are more important as it goes up. So that means least important, most important. If you break this this knuckle, okay, you break it, no problem. Most of the time they just say, yeah, let it heal or whatever. You break this knuckle or this knuckle, it's a big problem. Okay, so you can finish the fight with a broken pinky. You can live with a broken pinky knuckle. However, you break your wrist, you lose your hand. Okay, so is it better to risk breaking your pinky or risk breaking your wrist? If you use your bottom three knuckles, you risk breaking your pinky. You hit with your top two knuckles, less likely to break your pinky, more likely to break your wrists. Okay, so I just want to get your feedback from your martial artist, whether you do Krav Maga, Taekwondo, Muay Thai, or whether you're just a fighter in general and you know how to knock somebody out. Send me your feedback and let me know, hey, I'm always a white belt. I'm always learning, always growing. And if I find that it's better to use the three knuckles than your top two knuckles, then I'll start doing that. By the way, two people in history has talked about hitting with those three knuckles. One happens to be Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, when he punched, he talks about using the 3 knuckles and not using the top 2 knuckles. Another is the great late Jack Dempsey. Jack Dempsey talks about hitting with the 3 knuckles, and not the 2 knuckles. But what the fuck do they know? It's just Bruce Lee and Jack Dempsey. They probably don't know what they was talking about. So let's just see what your opinion is, okay? All right. So send me your comments. I'll comment back. I just want to know what your opinion is. Top 3 knuckles versus, bottom 3 knuckles versus top 2 knuckles in bare knuckle fist fighting. Peace. I'm out.